Today we want to talk about inverse function. Inverse function, I believe you already know what a function is. In our previous lesson, we defined a function as a special type of mapping in which the codomain is a set of numbers. If we have this A, B, C, and we have here D, E, F, this maps to this, this maps to this, this maps to this. This is a mapping, but it is not a function. So it means that not all mappings are functions. A mapping is said to be a function only if the codomain is a set of numbers. That is 1, 2, 3, etc. So with this here, the codomain here is alphabet, a set of alphabets as the elements. Therefore, it is not a function. If we remove this and have 1, 2, 3 here, this mapping has become a function because in the codomain we have a set of numbers. So that is what we mean by a function. A function is a special type of mapping in which the codomain is a set of numbers. Now with that, let's look at inverse function. An inverse function is a function that is reversed. For instance, if we have this place as -1, -2, -3, then mapping to 1, 2, 3. Inverse function of this expression is we reverse this set, we make x to become y and make y to become x, or we make the domain to become the range and make the range to become the domain, and that becomes the inverse function of the expression. So here we have this become y and this becomes x, and so we have this 1, 2, 3 here is coming to this side, so we have 1, 2, 3, I have -1, -2, -3 here. So this is the inverse function of this expression. The inverse function of a function is denoted with f inverse. This is f, and then this one is f inverse. Remember, a function could be denoted with any alphabet. It could be f inverse, could be h, or g inverse, h inverse, whatever you like. But preferably we use f, g, and h, though you can use any other thing you want to use and denote your function. So this is what we mean by an inverse function: exchanging the position of the domain and the range, or inversing the domain and the range. Now, what can we do with an inverse function? If we have an expression or a function, they may ask us to determine the inverse function of it, and this is how to do it. For instance, if we have an expression like, let me say that we are given to find the inverse function. Example, if we are given this to find the inverse function of it, let's say that you have f of x equal to 1/2x minus 3. F of x is equal to 1/2x minus 3, and we are asked to find the inverse function of it. how do we do this? What we want to do now is to make the x to stand to be the subject. Remember that when we introduced function, I said that f of x represents y. So in the position of this f of x, it means that since we are inversing the function, instead of having y that place, we are now going to have x. So that becomes the inverse of the function. So for this function now, if you want to find the inverse of it, now we make x the subject of the formula here. So it becomes, we now call this f of x y. This is our y. So we have that y is equal to 1 over 2x minus 3. Now it now means that 2y is equal to 2y, or let me first of all take this minus 3 to this side. It becomes y plus 3 is equal to 1 over 2x. Remember, our mission is to make x the subject of the formula. So if we have that, we can now say that 2, we use 2 here, it is a division here, a denominator. So if it is coming to this side, it becomes a numerator. So it's going to multiply to this. So we have 2 brackets y plus 3 is equal to, this is x times 1, which is x. So this becomes we now have that, let's put it here, that x is equal to 2 brackets y plus 3. X is equal to 2 brackets y plus 3. When we reach to these points, whatever we have as x, as y, we change the value of this y to x. So it is going to be that f inverse means replacing the position of y with x. If we are replacing the position of y with x, that means that we are going to have 2 brackets x plus 3. So this becomes the answer. So this is the f inverse of that expression. F inverse of x is equal to 2 bracket x plus y. When we get to this point, we replace the position of y with x, because that is our mission, to change the position of y to become x. So we place x the place where we have y, and now we have our answer. So this is really simple. Let's look at another example. If we have that example 2, if they decide to make it look somehow complex so that those that are not doing further mathematics will not understand it, this really means nothing. If they say g of x such that x maps to x raised to power 3 plus 3, and we are asked to find the inverse function of this, that is G inverse. How are we going to do it? To transform this means to make y, to make x to take the position of y. So we start by saying solution. We start by saying that y is equal to the expression, which means that y is equal to, or let's just say that the expression means to show that we know our basics of further mathematics, that f of x is equal to x raised to power 3 plus 3, and that means that y, because we know that f of x is equal to y, so y is equal to x raised to power 3 plus 3. And now we now have that we want to make x the subject of the formula. So let's say from here that we have y equal to x raised to power 3 minus plus 3. Let's take 3 to this side to make x raised to power 3 to stand alone. So we are going to have that y minus 3 is equal to x raised to power 3. Let's bring x to this side to show that we are working, or we are trying to make it the subject. Now x raised to power 3 is equal to y minus 3. Nothing changed, we just changed their positions. Okay, so with this we have to clear the cube roots. We are looking for x and not x cube. So we find the cube roots of x minus y, x minus y minus 3. So we have that x is equal to y minus 3 cube root of it. This is x. From this, taking this x raised to power 3 to this side, it becomes y minus 3, the cube root of this value. So we have this. Remember that if we have a raised to power 2 is equal to b, then a, if you want to clear the square root, is a is equal to root b. A is equal to root b. If we have raised to power 3, then this is going to be, just put 3 here. If you have 4, we just put 4 here. It is only 2 that we don't put anything outside the root, on top of the root, or inside the root anyhow. So this is what we are going to have. X is equal to cube root of y minus 3. And remember, our mission is to exchange the position of y with x. So this y here, we are going to put x to replace it. So we have that our f of x, f inverse of x is equal to, or in this case we can also say G inverse, the G inverse of it is equal to cube root of x minus 3. So this is the answer. Yeah, so this is basically how to solve inverse function in mapping, and I believe that these examples I have given have made it very clear for you. Thank you.